Good morning. Happy
Good
Wednesday.
morning. Oy,
To,
I can't. Am
how's
I even on the screen? I
Florida?
can't even see myself.
Curt and Jen in the morning podcast. Curt is in Florida visiting
That's
family.
true.
Curt, how's Florida?
Florida is Florida. It's actually really, 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 really hot. And I even from Floridians are going, man, it's hot. So the highs have been in the mid to upper 90s, I guess mid 90s, which, once you get to mid 90s, I don't think it matters. It's like, oh, it was 97 instead of 95. It's like, it's stinking hot, all right. But if you're willing to stay inside and do inside things, then it's all good.
Okay.
And we have been doing that.
Well, we have a action-packed show for you today.
Action packed, including things like the official best Pixar movies. We're not going to tell you exactly right now how we determined the official best Pixar movies. There's a lot of them too, like 27 Pixar movies, by the way. I didn't know that. Words in each state that you have a hard time spelling. Jen, and I know you were like, oh, yep, that's me on this one. Uh,
I have a test for you too, Curt.
I'm looking forward to that, sort of. How about ways to save money on food, which is important right now because food is expensive. Everything is expensive. What you
Yeah, I mean,
consider,
I could follow
yeah,
some of these things and save some money for sure.
and what you consider exercise, because some people are, I'm going to say, I don't want to say cheating. That doesn't seem right, but they seem to think that exercise is not actually exercise.
I hate to judge people on what they think is exercise. I do,
Hmm.
because if you're moving your body, at least you're moving your body.
Right.
But
And I am not one to say it's not my strong suit, exercise. Let's just say that. All right.
all right, let's hop in. First of
Okay.
all,
Hold
we're
on.
gonna put out the ask if you could like us, if you could subscribe to us. We're
Hmm.
almost at, do I even dare say it? People can see it. We're almost at 100 subscribers on YouTube.
And
We're
if we
just
get to
like, I
100
think
subscribers, if we get
we're at
there,
like
we'll pay
96.
you
So if you
back
don't
by,
subscribe, just
yeah.
subscribe. It's free.
What are we going to give them if we get to 100 subscribers? The 100 subscriber gets a shout out.
A round of applause. Oh yeah, we can do that. The 100th subscriber. I don't know if we can tell that, but yes.
Yes.
Share us if you can. Follow us. Anything that you do is helpful. So thank you for that.
Right.
A special thank you to Linda, who Curt. Linda was the person who hired me in radio, who hired me as an intern at KPLZ.
You don't have to say the
She
year.
she and her husband Greg listen, like, watch every day, watch us. And she just suffered a concussion, so she's not supposed to watch
Oh,
screens. But she glanced over when she was listening to us yesterday about the lighting and texted me and said,
here's what
listen,
you do.
here's what you guys need to do. So
We're a
hopefully
little
she's
limited,
thinking
yeah,
we
because
look better.
I'm actually broadcasting from the guest bedroom of my sister's house in lovely Bonita Springs, Florida. So, but
With you've got
thanks
a
for the.
fan coming out of your head, and I've got a light coming out of mine like I'm an angel from heaven.
I'm turning off the fan. That's distracting, isn't it?
No, it's not. Let's okay.
I'm gonna burn up in
Anyway,
here.
Linda, thank you for the lighting help. We appreciate it. I'm actually at a different location so I can have light behind me. Hopefully, this is a
Hmm.
little bit better. And then I have to give a shout out to and a hello to Mrs. Moyers,
Hi, Mrs. Moyer.
first grade class at Fernwood Elementary. So Mrs. Moyer was my both my daughter's first grade teacher, and I actually had dinner with her and her husband, and then the then principal at Fernwood, Mr. D, and his wife. And we were up way too late last night, and she was telling me how she watches us on the big screen in her classroom when she's getting ready for the morning. And sometimes she'll put it on pause and the kids will come in and it's still on the screen. So they came in one day and said, who's that? So she explained who we are. And they're like, are they alive or dead?
Oh, it depends
We're
on the
alive,
day,
kids. Hello. Have a
on
good
the
day.
day of the
Make sure you
week.
be kind and make good choices.
Nice. Yeah, and thank you for watching the still shot of the possibly dead people, kids. So far alive. So far
Oh,
alive.
yeah. Okay. Well, the reason they ask that is because they have an art docent come in, and a lot of times the artist is
Passed on.
deceased, if you
All
will.
right. Now,
Okay.
this is something that, Jen, you're going to be surprised about because we've discussed before how competitive you are, Jen,
Yes.
and that I am not terribly competitive at all. I'm more like, yeah, okay, to each their own. Come on, let's just play the game and have fun. Well, it turns out that when I get around my family,
You're
that may change.
competitive?
Well, we dug out at my dad's place yesterday. We dug out an old Nintendo Wii game, right? And I
Which
don't
one
know
did
how
you
long
play?
well, I don't know how long it's been since Wii has even been available, but still worked perfectly. And of course, it's like, oh, those are graphics are terrible and whatnot, but we didn't care. We did the bowling, and they have archery, and they had all kinds of stuff. And it was surprising about how competitive it got, particularly with the archery. So I guess I do have that streak in me a little bit.
Way to go, Kurt. Did you win?
I won at ping pong. I did not win at archery. So, but yeah, we went through all of the game. I think it was back when you had to get everything on a disc. I think it was the disc that everybody got with their Wii, like the sports, it had,
Yes. Yeah.
it has
Nice.
bicycling and racing and all kinds of stuff. So
It
it was,
makes my heart so happy that you're with your family and spending time. That's so great.
well, you would have heard the words we were exchanging last night would not have made your heart happy
Oh, it
because
would have made me happy.
it was on. Not my dad so much, but my sisters. Oh yeah.
All right. So last night I have a show and tell photo for those of you watching YouTube, and you can hop on YouTube. I might post this. I don't know if I will though. It's a little embarrassing, I have to say.
What's your show and tell photo?
So last night after we got home from dinner, I had started cleaning my bathroom, and the way I clean my bathroom is like all out. Like I dump everything off the counter, do
Mhm.
the full cleaning. I had sprayed down like the shower, the stuff that needs to sit there for like, 8 to 12 hours to be effective. Well, so okay, so side note on the story, Pat's like, do not mention this. Do not mention
Oh,
it.
your boyfriend said don't mention this, and you're mentioning this. Are you prepared to be boyfriendless?
I don't think he'll break up with me because of it. I told him I was gonna mention. I'm like, honey, I
All
have to.
right. Why
So
don't I tell
first of
you if he's
all,
going to break up with you or not after I hear this?
he was going to get in the shower and scrub the shower for me, but he was just gonna take a shower, right? So he's naked. And
Hmm.
so, and I said, oh my God, I tried to clean this mirror and there's smudges everywhere. And he's like, did you use a paper towel? You have to kind of like buff it out. So he grabs a paper towel naked and he's like cleaning my mirror. And I'm like, honey, if this whole firefighter thing doesn't work out, or your construction business that you're going to start after you retire, naked cleaning.
That's his next.
He's like, I probably would make a lot of money with the older ladies.
Wow. Did you say, are you calling me old? Because that's what you'd say to me.
I did. I said, are you calling me old and fat right now?
No. Oh, you
He's like,
threw
no,
fat in
the
there as
real old
well.
ladies, the old ladies that maybe aren't getting any action right now and just want something pretty to look at.
I
Anyway,
think
I
he was talking about
digress.
the Cougars.
Here's my photo. I had him as part of cleaning out the shower, and I hate to do this, and you know this about me, Kurt. I might have long hair, but I hate hair.
Hmm.
You have to fish out like it wasn't draining very well.
Right. You got the hair in the drain.
He does this stuff on the semi-regular, like cleaning drains. He's like, oh my God, this is the biggest hairball I've ever seen in ever doing this ever.
So you
Right?
took a photo of the hairball, the hair clump. Jeez. Okay, that's enough.
Is that so
Wow.
gross? It is like the longest, gooeyest.
Here comes the gag reflex. I love it. You knew that was going to happen, and yet you put the picture up and you looked at it.
Sorry. Okay, let's move on to Pixar movies, happier things.
Wow. That was a pretty long, stringy, fat hair.
Stop. Okay, we got to move
You
on.
started it, all right? This is from Rotten Tomatoes and their tomato meter. They determined of all 27 Pixar movies with the same, some of them had the same score, right? The same tomato, what do they call it? Their tomato meter score.
Right.
But they determined which movies are the best to the worst, the rankings of all the Pixar movies.
And I wouldn't
And
even say they're the worst because the lowest score that the movie, well, Cars 2 is at the bottom of the list with
I disagree with that. It was not
39%.
that bad.
Cars 3 is 69%. That's the bottom of the list. Elemental is the 25th one, and that's 73. So that's really good.
Yeah, none of these had like a 5% or anything like that. But the
Yeah.
top,
Okay,
or
so
should we start? Let's look
tell
at
us
the
like the
top.
top five.
Well, you've got three Toy Stories in the top five. So Toy Story 2 with a
Number
100% score,
one.
and Toy Story, the original Toy Story, also had a 100% score. So there's number one and two. Finding Nemo had 99%, so that's three. Then we had Inside Out, which, you know, we got Inside Out 2 coming out. So we're going to see what's going on with sadness
That
and
one's one of my
joy. And
favorites.
right. And the new character, Anxiety.
And
That was
depression, right?
Inside Out. What's that?
And depression, I think. Anxiety and depression.
Well, sadness is probably still there. Is depression different than sadness?
Ooh, I don't know. What was the other one? Oh, embarrassment. It was embarrassment. That's what it was. Okay, keep
Okay, the other
going.
new
Sorry,
one.
I digress.
Inside Out, 98% was number 4, and Toy Story 3 also had 98%. That was number 5. Up was 98% as well at number 6. And after
I
that,
love Up. That's one of my
yeah.
favorites too. And where's Monsters Inc. in the list?
Monsters Inc. Doesn't even pop up until, well, they're number 11. But again, this is like 96%. So they're all like crammed up at the top there,
Fantastic movies.
you know.
I love a good Pixar movie.
You remember Ratatouille?
Yes,
That
that
was
was
number
number
10.
10.
Incredibles is on there at number 9, 97%.
What,
Coco, we love Coco.
Kurt, what is your favorite Pixar movie?
Oh wow. I probably if it's based on the one that I've watched the most, I guess it would probably be The Incredibles. You know, I mean,
Oh,
a lot of them are great, but if you just base it on that, I'd say The Incredibles. But my favorite might be Coco or Inside Out too. I mean, you know,
Coco was a good one too. I forget about that one. Coco
yeah,
was
because he's
really
got the
good. Oh,
guitar and yeah,
so many good
Coco was
ones
good.
that you can
Yeah, so
watch
there you
over and
go.
over again and still have a warm heart and maybe a tear in your eye.
Yes, and they all like you said, there's like most of them are in the 90% and up range, which is I'd be happy to have a movie that I made that was in the 90% and up range, let alone 20 odd. So
I cannot wait to see Inside Out too. Okay.
mhm.
Um, so the script spelling bee finals are tomorrow night. So Google looked at the top words like ordinary Americans struggle with. Like, and I looked up the Washington word, like
Oh,
the
this is
one
great.
word
Wait. We should qualify that. It's by state, right? Every state,
by state,
yeah,
yes.
every state has a word that is the most challenging, apparently based on their Google searches, how to spell
Which
whatever.
in California, the word surprised me was pretty. And in New
Pretty.
Mexico, it was quiet. Michigan
Wow.
is the word cousin.
I don't want to say anything about that. Well, you know, and we've talked about this before, that I was a spelling bee champ in
Well,
elementary school.
just wait a second, Kurt.
Yeah.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. So the word in Washington, and I have looked this word up so many times, I can never remember how to spell it, is
Bring it.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. No, you put me on the spot here because I'm
Hold
supposed
on,
to
I gotta
try.
find it. I gotta find the map.
I'm
Okay.
trying to visualize it in my eyes. You know, sometimes the kids in the spelling bee are like writing it out on their hand invisibly.
Yeah.
Well, does it start with HAN? I think it's
Yes.
HANN.
No.
No, just one N.
Hmm.
Okay. HANU
Then a
K.
double letter.
Then that's it. That's the KK AH or UH.
A-H.
H A N U K K
H-A-N-U-K-K-A-H.
A H. That's a tough one. Now, see,
It
I would say that that's reasonable. That's more reasonable than people having to look up the word cousin. Do they have to
are
look up cousin in Michigan because a lot of the cousins are married to each other?
I don't know. I knew
Oh,
you were gonna say
sorry.
that. You know,
I lived in Michigan. I can make fun of Michigan.
in Oregon, it's opinion, the word opinion. And this someone surprised me in Idaho. Maybe it shouldn't surprise me though. Strawberries.
Straw and berries. That's pretty easy. But how about, did you already mention Virginia? It's the word said. And before you jump on people about that, that's one of the words, and I wonder if this is just me or if this is everybody, words that you've written your whole life, like that one, said, SAID. For whatever reason, sometimes when I'm writing or typing stuff, it's like, that can't be right. SAID.
Because
And then
the
you,
English language is crazy and we
yeah.
spell things
But I mean,
weird.
I've spelled it a million times, but for whatever reason, every now and again, it just jumps out at you at like, is that right? SAID? I guess it is, you know,
What
so.
about the word corduroy? My geographic skills are poor. I don't know what that one is. What's the state that's next to Idaho? Not the top one, but the bottom one.
Montana?
Maybe that's Montana. Privilege. Wait, it goes, God, this is terrible.
What was the one you said before privilege? It was
Corduroy.
isn't that CORDUROY?
Yes.
Ding ding ding.
Hey,
Okay,
here's
that's what
one more thing I wanted to try, Kurt.
all right.
I don't know if I have it up here still. What? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. The last year's winning spelling bee word. Ready
Oh
for
man.
it?
No, I'm not going to get it. Is it a word that you know or that we use ever?
Oh, what's the word? Samophile. It's a plant or animal that prefers or thrives in sandy areas. Samophile.
Could you use the word in a sentence, Jen? The word is
A
samophile.
clam is a samophile.
Is it as easy as SAM?
No, there's a silent letter before it.
So like salmon, SALM?
P. Psammopphile. Samophile.
Everybody work that into your conversations today, all right? Samophile, like, I use it as a swear. Oh, samophile. I forgot to do something.
That's how I'm going to use it in a sentence because I have a
Samophile.
truck driver mouth and that'll be a great replacement.
Well, you can watch the script spelling bee. Is that tomorrow night or tonight?
Tomorrow
Tomorrow night.
night. Tomorrow
All
night.
right.
Yeah.
We asked yesterday and had fun with this. What is something that you had to do, an uncomfortable thing that you had to do for the greater good? And Jen has a great story about this, which we're
Well,
going to
share
hear.
Brittany's first because Brittany wrote into us. She is a loyal listener and she wrote into about something her
Again, yeah,
husband
so
did.
her husband had to do this is when you're in a situation where you end up having to do something that might be kind of uncomfortable, but you think about it and it's for the greater good of the people around you or whatever. So
Yeah.
what did Brittany have?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to read it. Coming back from a Kenny Chesney concert a few years ago, there was a drunk man on the light rail. He was getting into people's faces and threatening people all around the light rail car. He was
Hmm.
also still drinking while on the light rail. As soon as we got to the street level stops, my husband pushed him out of the train doors as soon as they opened. Several other guys jumped up to have his back the second he did it, but he got the whole car out of a very bad situation.
Let's do
So it
the
sounds
applause.
like it wasn't like an aggressive push, but more like a, you know what, like you need to get out of this car.
You know what? And this doesn't fly anymore, but from my standpoint, if you're being an idiot, then I got no time for you. If they pushed him off and he broke his arm, so be it. I
Okay.
know, I
I
know.
don't
It's
know
like
about
but
that.
see, that's how you learn things. That's how you learn not to be an idiot on the light rail because you ended up with a broken arm.
Okay.
Mine was. Do you want to share yours, or should I go?
I will. So I mentioned yesterday that this past weekend I discovered a new restaurant through a friend. It
Mhm.
was called Bistro San Martin in Arlington, downtown Arlington, Washington.
And you had to do something
And
uncomfortable?
I did get in an uncomfortable situation. First of all, I have to tell you, I love the restaurant, not only for the food and the service, but also they had Kleenex with lotion in their bathroom and a Vino
Okay.
hand lotion, which is what I use.
Right. And that's important because when you start talking about these stories, sometimes people think that somehow the restaurant was involved. And the restaurant is great. It has nothing to do with the
The
restaurant, though.
restaurant was not involved.
It was with a
So,
patron.
okay. So there was a table. So it's a smaller restaurant.
Mhm.
And we're kind of toward the back of the restaurant, and there's six of us. And then there's another table, like I think that was the very back table. So these kids, it was a family of four, and there's
Right.
two boys, young boys, that each had their iPad sitting on the table and they were playing video games. The problem is this: they were playing their video games without headphones at top volume. And when I
Okay.
say top volume, I am not exaggerating. We heard exactly if they were winning or losing that video game. And so, I started kind of the table started with because we're like, what is that? The kind of the like, what is going on look, right? The kind of like,
Mhm.
there's your nonverbal hint
That's your
that
first step is the sort of the over the shoulder, hey.
I mean, and their back was behind me at first. And so I look back and nothing, like they changed nothing. And so finally, I turned around and I said, "Excuse me, can you please have your kids turn down the volume on their games?" And they were not having that. They did not like that. They turned it down a little bit. I could still hear it a little bit, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's like first of all, okay, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. If you're at a nicer restaurant like that, this is a teaching moment for your kids for life. You don't need a device. Like you want your kids to be able to, and these were younger kids, so I get that you might need to have a distraction, but just turn off the screens. Give them some coloring crayons and piece of paper.
Right.
I just
But
anyway.
I believe you
And
also
I
said,
am
didn't you
not a
get
judger. I
to
really don't like to be a judger of how people parent, but I couldn't help but say something.
oh, you were in the right there. I mean, and didn't you say you got the daggers the rest of the night from them?
Well, here's the other thing. Now my table was being a little bit catty because they were like,
Uh-oh.
"Oh my God, do you see the woman over there, the mom?" Okay, I'm like, they're like, "Jen, you have to go to the bathroom," and then no, they're like, "You need to move over to this empty chair over here to get a good look." And I'm like, "How about if I just change positions to look after I go to the bathroom?" So I
Okay.
did. And she just had an excessive amount of makeup on and maybe looked a bit like Skeletor, but it's okay.
So from
That
this
was
day
really
forward,
mean. I'm like, I don't even feel good about
I
saying
know.
that.
She was
But
Skeletor and will be from this day forward when you reference her. Mine was similar type of thing, but and you'd think if you're at a sporting event, and I've
oh,
actually got two. One was was it a Kraken game, and you pay a lot of money for these seats, and
yeah.
uh, often you'll get the person behind you. Because when you think about it, the seats it's you're even closer than if you were sitting at a dinner table together. The people behind you are like 2 feet, 3 feet away or whatever, if that. And so they were just going to, and it wasn't even people talking about the game. They were just talking very loudly about, well, my grandma, blah, 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 and just having their, regular conversation. A few swear words were thrown in there as well.
Okay.
Which, and I really don't like that in public. It's like, come on, there's kids around here and whatever. So it was finally, I was like, I turned around and I wasn't, you were nice, but I was like, come on, man, keep it down. And then there's people applauding. I was like,
Because
all
they
right.
were affecting everyone around them.
Mhm. Yeah. And it happened in an Eric Clapton concert. I specifically remember because, he's got a few, this is many years ago. He's got a few quiet songs, Tears in Heaven and whatnot. So here's Tears in Heaven, arguably certainly his most heartfelt song. And these people behind me are just yapping and yapping. I was like, come on,
Oh,
keep it down. And then you
yeah.
get we paid for our tickets too. I was like, well, I know, and you're being a jerk.
Like it's a
So,
concert. You're here to like take in the
mm,
music.
yes. So
Interesting. Well,
So you
Curt,
can still chime in on that too as well if you'd like to, right? Because it's up on Facebook and Instagram.
yeah.
Something uncomfortable you had to do for the greater good,
Curt and Jen in the morning is where you find
right?
us
Hopefully you didn't
on
have a
social
Skeletor
media.
involved with yours. Um, this might be something that this next thing might be something that I don't know. It makes people aware. I mean, I don't know if I do this or you do this, Jen, but basically it's bragging about how busy you are makes people think that you're an idiot. That's the headline, by the way. I didn't make that up. Bragging about how busy you are makes people think you're an idiot. This is some research behind it from University of Georgia that said that people who frequently complain about their stressful work lives are seen as less competent and less likable by those around them.
I
So,
would sometimes say I've read some things where it's like, don't, what's busy even mean? Everybody's busy. You don't need to say that you're busy. So I try to be conscious about using or not
right.
using that word, but sometimes I just do. And I do feel like I'm like, who cares if you're busy, Jen? Like
Well,
everybody
yeah,
is.
but and also you've got people that basically it's like, oh, this place would fall apart if I wasn't here. I'm so
Oh,
busy, so
geez.
stressful, and it was who was it that I'm not going to say the name that we used to work with, but it was like, it takes so much effort for me to take a day off. It's almost not worth it. And I was like, that's everybody's life, just so you know. That's not just you. It does. You got to if you're taking a week off, you got to put in a week's worth of work into the 2 days before you leave. That's everybody, not
Well,
just
it
you.
kind of creates a bad work environment, right? A negative work environment too. So just, it's just that's just a little public service announcement to be aware that if, you know,
Right. Well,
people do
further
it,
in
don't
the
let it affect
story,
you. Maybe if you do it, don't. I don't know.
it says further in the story, these are not workers who are overwhelmed and are proactive about addressing it. These are people who they call it stress brag, like they're wearing it as a badge of honor. I'm so overworked. Oh man.
Blah, blah,
So
blah.
yeah,
Don't.
maybe they're overcompensating for the fact that they're not overworked. What do you want
Okay,
to do?
I want to
You want
know how
to
to save some money on food because I was reading this article and I'm like, the first thing I thought of is when I read that, okay, some smart ways to save money on food. Hey, Jen, how about you don't waste your food? How about you don't throw away your vegetables when you buy it because you're like, okay, today I'm gonna buy salad and I'm gonna eat salad all week long. And do I? No.
actually, I think my wife is pretty good about that. Dana, um, uh, Yeah, throwing away food is a huge no-no. And we eat a lot of, we try not to eat as much processed food as in the ultra processed food. So it's a lot of, even she gets her meats from I'll think of it, Butcher Box.
Oh,
It's
Butcher
a
Box, that's
yeah.
good.
But yeah, so and I think maybe part of it is the thinking, well, if I spend more on the meat, I'll be less likely to waste it because it's a lot of money. But so yeah, if you want, because food is so expensive right now with inflation and everything, there are a few ways, as you said, to save money on food. And the top one is stop being too busy to cook. So I guess
Speaking
that
of
goes
saying you're
to,
too busy,
well, but that's when you fall back on going out to
ordering
eat,
out.
right? Or hitting a drive-through or something like that. How about eating less meat? It's expensive, and it says most Americans eat too much meat anyway. Can you cut out meat once or twice a week? It can save you a lot of money. Like that week, you're going to eat nothing but salads, Jen.
I know, but I'm going to put meat on my salad. I like meat. I'm
I
going
knew
to
you were
keep
going to say
eating
that.
meat, but
All right.
that's a nice suggestion.
Stop wasting food.
Like I
Don't-
said, stop wasting food. And they did suggest in the article that instead of like if you tend to waste fresh produce, then
Mhm.
buy frozen.
Even
Keep it in
though,
your
yeah,
freezer.
they're like,
Keeps
well, fresh
longer.
is better for you, but if you're going to end up throwing it away anyway,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Snack
Snack less.
less.
Snack
Curt.
less. Junk food is expensive. I've actually been very good about this since I've been on vacation. I thought I was going to completely blow it, but so far, not bad, not bad.
And
And
then lean on
finally,
generic brands.
why
Generic
not?
brands. The Kirkland brand at Costco, they're made by legit people. Like I think their mayonnaise, someone told me as I was buying Best Food
Is it
mayonnaise, they're
Hellman
like, you can
relabeled?
buy the Kirkland, Best Food makes it.
Hmm.
A
All
worker
right.
told me that.
And why not? If you're at Best Foods, they say, hey, we'll sell more of your mayonnaise. We're going to put a different label on it and not charge as much, and it's just as good. I'm sure that Best Foods is okay with that, or whoever
All
it
right.
is.
So we're spending money on junk food, right? And we're eating our
Mhm.
junk food. We're spending too much money on it, but then we need to exercise so that we feel better about ourselves. So Curt, tell me some things about the exercise.
Well, I think the funny thing was we started reading this, and the headline was not "We need to exercise more." The headline was a third of Americans, a full third of Americans, think doing the dishes counts as exercise. And this is something that my ex-wife way back when worked at a bank as a bank teller, and she's like, I bet I walk, 30,000 steps every day. Well, actually, they didn't count steps back then. It was like, I bet I walk a mile and a half back and forth and back and forth. I was like, I suppose you're moving, but is that really exercise? So a third of Americans say doing everyday chores. Actually, it's not a third, but some of the chores that they say this counts as exercise, since, well, and the big number here is 98% of people say that you don't need to go to the gym to exercise. That's probably true if you're willing to go outside and walk or bike or whatever the case may be. Um, the the people that say taking out the trash, 36% of people say taking out the trash is exercise. Huh? Huh?
Well, you're
First
walking
of
and
all,
you're lifting. You're
but
lifting and walking. I'm
how
trying
long
to
to take
help.
out the trash?
Because here's the
That's
thing,
like
the
12
average person
seconds.
claims to exercise 4 times a week, right? So,
Hmm.
but they're counting some of these things, so that they're really not, it's like not true exercise. But I
Right.
fall back on if you're moving around, like if you decide to take out the trash, maybe do some, like if you got this trash going, like do some lifts with the trash bag.
There, work on your biceps. Well, and some of these are, let's go through the list here. Some of these are legit. Walking around your neighborhood, yes,
Okay.
that would be exercise.
Gardening.
Taking the stairs instead of the elevator. We used to
Yeah,
do that at when we were over at Fisher Plaza,
that
Como Plaza.
absolutely counts as exercise. Is
I,
this
I,
like, I don't even understand
well, no,
this.
these are the ones that I think that they ask people what you consider exercise. These I would agree with all these. Doing yard work depends on what it is, I suppose, mowing the lawn or whatnot. Cleaning, though, here's where we get to the things where it's like, is this exercise cleaning?
Okay.
Hmm. About 6 in 10 people say, yeah, cleaning is exercise. Then there's taking your dog for a walk. Agreed. You're walking there, so that counts. Bringing groceries in from the car.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, like you said, technically, if you're moving,
I mean, here's
it's
the thing. If
exercise.
it's like, if you're doing it for a half an hour and you're lifting up groceries and you're walking into the house and putting them down and then going back and lifting up groceries, but you have to do it for an amount of time. Like if it's just,
Yeah, you're not
I'm
grabbing
taking
two
my
bags of
one
groceries and
trip.
walking inside.
Yes.
Let's whip through
Okay.
the rest of these here. Gardening, 40% say is exercise. That can't be right. I mean, that can't be exercise. I guess mowing the
Gardening,
lawn.
wait, hold on. See, no.
Right.
Gardening, I think, can be exercised because you're working muscles like you're down and you're up and you're
Okay.
pulling and you're bang and
All right. I stand corrected because I don't do any gardening. What
all
about
right.
stretching after getting out of bed?
Okay. If it's like legitimate, like I'm getting on my yoga mat and I'm going to do some stretches literally as I roll out of bed, that's legit. If it's just the, oh, I'm so tired, that doesn't
Yes.
count.
And I imagine that's
Doesn't
what they
count.
mean here because otherwise it'd say yoga, which certainly counts. Doing dishes or a load of laundry, a third of people think that that counts as exercise.
Well, anyway,
Right. Well, again, you're moving, so technically all this stuff is you're moving your body, yes, and that's
better
good.
than it's better than sitting on the couch and doing a whole lot of nothing. That's what I'll
Yeah,
say.
laying around, but yeah, I'm still
What
going to argue against most of those things as exercise.
something that we're going to talk about tomorrow
Ooh.
is the basic things that it took you way too long to figure out. Like I equate it to like your aha moment for basic stuff that you probably should have already known. Like one
Mhm.
of the examples is someone recently in their adult life realized that carrot cake is actually made of carrots, not just called carrot cake because there's a decorative carrot made of frosting on the top.
You know, and that's the strange thing about this is, and we may all be guilty of this, but there are things that you heard growing up, at some point, and it's something that could be like a very small, minuscule thing that never comes up again. For instance, I thought coffee cake was made from coffee, for the longest time
Right,
because
right.
it's
That's
called coffee
exactly
cake.
that's a perfect thing, Curt.
And so it wasn't until, I never questioned it. I mean, it never came up. I'm like, hey, is this actually made of coffee? It's like, this is tasty. I like it. No big deal. And I must have been, I'm sure I was a full grown adult when somebody was like, well, there's not coffee in that, dude. It's like, oh. And then you feel
Someone
dumb, but
someone thought that well, I'm just going to give a couple more examples. Like someone thought
please,
the term birthday suit meant that there was an actual birthday suit, like a suit that you wore on your birthday.
what is your birthday suit, Jen?
You're naked,
That's right. The way you
naked,
were born.
naked, naked, naked.
You got one more, or are we good?
No, that's good. So
Okay.
we'll put that like comment. You can comment on the platform that you're watching or listening, just with
Mhm.
whatever, and we'll post it on
YouTube or
our
whatnot.
social media
Right.
on Curt and Jen in the morning.
Again, it's basic things. It took you way too long to figure out the aha moment. And often I don't think other people need to be around when you go, oh, I guess that's what that means.
Well, when it is, it gives everybody else some entertainment because they're like, you didn't know that. What?
You thought there was coffee and coffee cake. Way to go.
Listen, thank you for letting us be part of your day. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. We want to be part of your daily routine, whether no matter what time. Like you always say, Curt, even though we're a morning, we call ourselves the morning show. It's because we're up in the morning recording it, and you can listen to it anytime you want, and we're thankful that you do. So,
Yes. I'll try to
thank
have some more updates from lovely Florida. You can't see outside, but it is nice and
I
sunny
see
and
sunshine falling through, and it's gray and
hot.
dreary here. Gray and
Woof.
dreary in the Pacific Northwest.
All right.
Have a great rest of your day. Make good choices, find joy, spread kindness, and thanks again for listening. Okay, I will work on sending you the audio. We've got a few extra minutes. I will render the video and post.
Okay. I'm going to go take my dad to his appointment and I will do the audio. I found a way to change it to MP3, which is fantastic. That made a big difference.
Okay,
And then I'll edit it up and add some songs in there, and
post
away
it
we
as
go.
soon as possible.
Did you think it was pretty good? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, we flowed pretty good. It was long again, but I think it was good. I think it flowed.
Okay, what is
And
it,
I got to text
25
Mrs.
minutes?
Moyer and tell her that we mentioned her classroom to this morning.
Okay. All
Okay,
right, cool.
have
Thank you very
fun.
much.
See you later. Hope everything's good with your dad.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.